What's up? What's up? What's up? I see you guys talking in the chat, hanging out. Thanks for being here for another Loncar Live. And in case you missed the news, in case you just don't know what's up, tonight we have a very special guest, ACR sponsored pro, Miss Ebony Kenney is in the house. She's going to be talking about her. We're going to be learning some stuff, as usual, about our guest that we don't already know. So whether you know her or not, we're going to learn something new. It's going to be a great time, as always. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. I see you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. And without further ado, Miss Ebony Kenney, let's get it. There we go. There we go. There she is. What's up, Ebony? Welcome in.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? Look at this setup. It's so great.
There we go. There we go. Get it situated. Okay, so obviously, if any of you out there don't know Ebony Kenney, she is an America's Cartoon Sponsor Pro. Ebony, I was thinking about it. Why don't you... Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot just to start the show. So
okay.
I want you to imagine there's this crazy alternate reality right now where you have been cloned and you are the host for yourself. So I want you to introduce yourself in an honest way. So go.
Oh, okay. Well, this is easy. My next guest is Ebony Kenney. She is a full-time poker player, content creator, and overall badass. And she loves supporting women. Welcome, Ebony Kenney.
Hey, there we go. Nicely done. There you go. So yeah, content creator, badass. Welcome in, Ebony. How you doing? Where you at right now? Are you?
Thank you. I'm home. I'm in Austin, Texas.
Home in Austin, Texas. And I understand that you just recently moved there or moved back there.
Yeah, I was in Canada for most of COVID. So I was up in Canada for 17 months. I came back in middle of July and then obviously was in Vegas for the World Series for a couple months. So I haven't even gotten settled in at all.
Okay.
So I'm trying.
So I've heard amazing things about Austin, Texas. It's honestly it's definitely like a top 3 city in the United States that I want to go to that I've never been to before. Is it as awesome as everyone says?
Yes.
Like the new California, right? Like everyone keeps saying so many people are moving to California. So what's so great about it? The bar scene looks insane.
Yeah, I'm not there. The live music scene's amazing. And Joe Rogan moved here. So the comedy scene's about to pop off. And I'm not huge into bars. Like I like wine bars. I'm a little bit bougie. I like quiet. I like live jazz music.
Yes.
But I moved to Austin in November of 2017 and totally fell in love. It's just, I think the thing that is so amazing is people smile. When they smile at you, they smile genuinely. Mm-hmm. And people are just really sweet and helpful. I don't know. It's this very Southern hospitality. I'm from Florida originally.
Okay.
But being in Austin it's really amazing. Actually, my main mod, my wifey mod from Twitch lives in Austin and he's become a real, one of my closest friends. So
nice. So what brought you to Austin? Like, how did you did you go visit a friend there? How did you make the move there?
Yeah, a girlfriend of mine and we came out to visit. We did a girls trip, and one of my best guy friends was moving here the same week that we did our girls trip. So we helped him apartment hunt and really I got to experience Austin, from the side of if I was moving here, what would it be like, and looking at the different areas. And I knew within 2 days of me being here that I was going to live here eventually, but I had already had plans in place to move to California. So I was like, what's more likely, that I go to California and then come to Austin, or that I go to Austin and then California? So I went ahead and did California first, knowing that I would ultimately end up here.
Nice. Okay. So before we go way back on your way back backstory, you became an America's Cartoon Sponsor Pro, I believe, in January of this year, early this year, at the start of the year.
Yes.
How has everything been? Poker seems to have been going very well for you since you became a Sponsor Pro, live and online streams, growing. Talk to us about how the last year's been since you became an America's Cardroom Sponsor Pro?
I mean, I'm so grateful. The past year has been challenging behind the scenes in my personal life. There's been a lot of stuff that I've been having to kind of manage and deal with like some health stuff with my family. And so it's like the timing. I think my announcement for being a pro came like 2 days after I found out that someone in my family was very sick. And so the timing kind of sucked because I couldn't like come out of the gates and be like high energy and super positive. But I've had a great support system within ACR, and it's given me time to kind of like settle in and, you know, come back to Austin and play live and play online. And it's so exciting because right around COVID is when I first started playing online the most. And it's the first time that I'm able to see like the online game transition to live game and how much better I am.
Oh yeah.
Live. It's like the exponential growth is unbelievable.
Oh,
So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, I've always said that, like, if you're an online crusher, that means your fundamentals, your technical game is so good. I feel like every online boss can go live and crush, but definitely the same cannot be said about the live pro. Cannot just go online and start crushing because, as you know, there really is, I feel like, so much more involved with feeling out your opponent, kind of talking to them and getting that live feel. Like, there's so much more feel, and I feel like there's a lot of pros that really take advantage of that, and that maybe aren't the best, like, strategically and, you know, bet sizing and stuff, but they make up for it with the human element and the ability to look across the table and say, oh, this guy's hand is shaking. I see the throat throbbing.
That was definitely me. Like I started out as a live player. I've been primarily a live player. And when I say primarily, it's like 97% of my career has been live.
Okay.
So I also didn't think that my game would transition over to online. And it's a little bit of luck, a lot of luck, and working on my game and studying and having good feedback and having people around me that help me and being able to just see so many more hands, per session versus live. Like it's got to be like 100 times more hands. It's unreal.
Yeah. Way more.
So now that I've had this is my first series playing live after putting in some time online, and I can see the difference. And I'm just so grateful because I personally believe I excel at live reads, and I have a great ability to kind of run the table live. Now I've got that combined with, the skills that I've picked up over the past year and a half of playing online, and I'm pumped.
That's awesome. Nice. So the last couple of months, you were out in Vegas for pretty much the whole thing. You were in the punter's pad. Tell us all about that. So for those of you who don't know, just in case you're tuning in, America's Cardroom basically rented out a huge, I shouldn't say huge, but a very large house, 10 minutes from the Strip. And I believe you were the only female living with a bunch of the other ACR pros, right? Tell us all about that.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us all about it. I'm sure it was some crazy times off camera.
Yeah, I was the only woman in the house, and the house was large, not large enough. I think it was large enough to just barely make it work.
Okay.
But I shared a bathroom with Guru and Apollo, and Guru he owns this. He is by far the messiest one in the house, and I'm very particular about things. So sharing a bathroom with him was super interesting. Ryan and I kind of had to do like a...
You're being kind right now to Guru by saying...
I'm being very kind. I'm being very kind. But honestly, I was so surprised. I thought for sure that there was going to be a point in the house where I just didn't want to be there anymore. Mm-hmm. The producers asked us before we started, they were asking like, who's the most likely to, what are you the most likely to do? And my answer was, I'm the most likely to move out of the house. 100%. And it honestly was, everyone got along so well. Everyone is really good people. And it makes me just really happy to be a part of ACR, like to see the type of personalities and the type of people that they've built on this team is just it's really good. I think the thing that I learned the most is that I had like these preconceived notions about the type of person that Guru was going to be, the type of person DePaulo was going to be. And then I spent some time with them both and I'm like, oh my God, they're like really fucking cool and really sweet.
Yeah.
Like they probably try to pretend like they're not, but they're so sweet and really endearing and they mean well, which is, I think it's great. So yeah.
Nice. So don't judge a book by its cover is what you're saying.
100%.
100%. Nice. Okay. So I know the Punter's Pad was awesome. I know you guys had some challenges and this and that. I know you had some great tournament runs out there. If you could go back, what would be the number one thing that you would change looking at it now as far as anything? It could be anything at all.
My sleep schedule.
Late Vegas sleep schedule, going to bed at 4 or 5 in the morning, waking up late for attorneys. Something like that.
This was my first series where I played werewolf for the first time. And I was playing werewolf till like 5, 6 in the morning. So I wasn't getting home until like 6:30. And yeah, like my body certainly suffered from it, but socially I was getting like my cup was, runneth over, so to speak, because I had such an incredible time. But I would definitely stick to a better sleep schedule.
Like maybe 4 a.m., like 3 or 4 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah, like 4 is perfect. Like get home by 3, be in bed by 4, especially because I'm wearing like a full face of makeup. And there's actually an episode of Punter's Pad where Rob talks about, he says like he doesn't know what I do in the bathroom in the middle of the night. He thinks I'm just like running the water, being like a water DJ. But I have this like long process when I'm washing my face and brushing my teeth and flossing and all this stuff. And I do it every night, no matter what. So it does take me some time to go to bed. So 3 o'clock would be the perfect time for me to come home so I could be in bed by 4.
I know a lot of you out there are saying, wow, like go to bed earlier at 3 or 4 in the morning. But I've spent many, many summers out in Vegas all summer. And like average sleep time for me was probably 4 or 5 in the morning. That was like me trying to like be semi-responsible because it's such a nightlife city. I mean, everyone's up late. You got friends that are in this week for a bachelor party or bachelorette party or whatever till up all night. And then you just got friends that live there that are sickos and that want to have a great time with you. And yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to balance that. It's hard to balance. It's so hard. It's so hard because a great time is waiting and I'll be fine tomorrow. And then you wake up feeling like death at like 11 a.m. and oh man, yeah, it's tough, but that's awesome. You had a great time out there, and I loved watching the Punter's Pad videos, and it's like you said, it's so awesome to see that the ACR Pro team is like a family, and I wish I was out there, man. I'm gonna be out there for the next one with you guys. I can't wait to be out there with you guys for the next one for sure.
It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait. And this time it'll be better because this time we're gonna get a house that can fit more of us, comfortably. Yes. I definitely have to have my own bathroom.
Definitely. No more sharing with Rob and Ryan for you.
Yeah, Ryan wasn't so bad. But the amount of times, the thing was because our bathrooms were our bathroom was ensuite, so we could only get into the bathroom from either their room or my room. Mm-hmm. And I got locked out of the bathroom so many times. I had to wake them up a couple times in the middle of the night to unlock the bathroom because they locked my bedroom door.
Jeez.
Come
on, Rob. Come on, man. Come on, Ryan.
Rob was like, one night was like, there's another bathroom. I'm like, yeah, not with my shit. Just unlock the door.
Jeez. Well, that's gotta be, yeah. I'm sure it was, in most ways good, in other ways, yeah. Living with guys, it is what it is.
Yeah. Like it was actually fine. Like, I brought sound machines. I brought 2 sound machines with me. So when I'm sleeping and I know that I sleep later than everyone else and I know that I'm very particular about my sleep, right? Yeah. So I brought the sound machines. That way I could circumvent any like potential issues that would affect me getting good sleep or not. And I slept amazing the whole time.
That's genius. I'm going to do that the next time I got roommates or something because I don't like to be disturbed when I sleep myself. So Let's go back now. Let's go back. Talk to us about. We all want to hear and learn about you. This is all about you here. So tell us how you started, how you got into poker, have you always been a professional poker player? If you haven't, then what other jobs have you had in your younger years? Bring us way back, but let's start first with where did poker begin for you, and how old were you, and give us all the details.
I was 20.
Okay.
So almost 20 years ago. And my boyfriend at the time, who would eventually become my son's father, I was a jealous, insecure 20-year-old, and he was going to play poker like 4 or 5 nights a week. And I didn't believe that that's what he was doing. And I was like, motherfucker, I'm coming with you. I literally didn't believe him. And he was playing these $20 tournaments in his friend's basement, and I joined and watched and fell in love with the game. And I was like, that's awesome. It. I'm playing. I want to play.
Nice.
So that's how I started. And I actually got pretty early on, I got my taste of having to pay my bills through playing poker.
Okay.
Because about 1.5 years after that, I got pregnant with my son, and I was a makeup artist at a company called MAC.
Okay.
And I was an assistant manager in the Cherry Hill Mall in New Jersey. And I got put on bed rest because my son kept trying to come early through my pregnancy.
Oh, geez.
So I couldn't work anymore. And we would play these $20 tournaments like 4 nights a week. And that's how I paid my half of the bills. And we made it work the whole time. So I right away got a taste of, okay, like our rent was $1,000 back then, which was so much money. We were 20 and 22, and it was just a ridiculous amount of money for us at the time. And yeah, so.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I got started.
That's amazing. So you started grinding the $20 underground tournament scene, live scene, and the bug was caught, and that's awesome. That's awesome. So you had your son, and you're grinding these tournaments and whatnot. What was next?
So actually right after I had my son, I want to say like a month and a half after I had my son, I played my first live tournament in now it's not even there anymore, the Sands Casino in Atlantic City. And it was a $45 tournament, and there was a lot of people, but first place was like 1,400, and I ended up winning.
Hey.
And I remember like our whole group that like played in like the tournament scene with us, we all had last longers, and they were like, all right, Ebony, you're not going to win. Like, this is different, because I would always win. And I think about like how ridiculous it was. Like, I remember calling the guy on the river, like, heads up. I called him all in with ace queen high. And I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but for whatever reason that like, it was the correct call. Like, I called his river jam, and he's like, oh, good call. And I just had ace queen high. And like, I have what? Like, okay.
That's a great feeling.
But yeah, so I knew that I could have success in live poker, that with people that weren't just in, my little group. So I moved back to Florida and started playing, and poker from then on had always been the majority, if not the majority, like if not the only form of income that I had. But I did real estate, I did mortgages, I was a waitress, I went back to stripping, I used to be a stripper. I did all sorts of crazy in between, like every job, was going back to school, and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And there was just so much. And then I was like, yeah, poker's it for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you got back on the poker grind, and now you're full time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I have to ask, what part of Florida are you from? Because I'm honestly not too familiar with Northern Florida, but I love Miami. I love Naples Beach. I love Florida. Where are you from in Florida?
Yeah. So I'm from Fort Myers, which is right by Naples. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've always been so jealous of people that grow up on Florida, man. It's the white sand, the crystal clear water, the bath water. My God, you don't get that on the West Coast over here.
Yeah, I totally took it for granted. I had no idea how good I had it until I moved. I was like, oh my God. And I moved to Orange County in California, and the Pacific Ocean is, I think, like 7 to 8 degrees colder than the Atlantic Ocean.
Yep.
And I want to say it's like 12 degrees colder than the Gulf of Mexico, which is where I'm from.
Yep.
And I didn't even realize like how much of a difference that was until I moved to California. And I was like, oh God damn, the water's so cold.
It's freezing over here, man. It is.
Yeah. So yeah, now that I'm in a landlocked city, Austin, I really, really miss the beach.
Of course.
It's, oh my God. I
There's
can't
nowhere like the
wait.
beach. There's nowhere like living on the ocean or very close to the ocean.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so what moment hit? What moment hit while you're working this job, you're doing that job? Can you remember the moment or time frame or what made you say like, okay, like 100% poker, I'm going full blast, this is what I'm doing. What was the aha moment for you with that?
Well, actually, I think it's a little different, right? Because I think a lot of not a lot, not I think, I know a lot of poker players only have themselves to think about when they're getting started.
Yeah.
And I have been a single mom for the majority of that time. So after I think my son was like 3 months old, I moved back to Florida and now I'm a single mom of 2 kids. And so playing poker for me is a lot different because I have to find a way to make ends meet and put food on the table. And so there was no such thing as a bankroll. It was just my life roll was my bankroll. And this was just every month was just trying to like make ends meet. And that's why I would like, pick up odd jobs. And I was always like trying to like, all right, I'm going to focus on the money. And then I started doing very well and I had a gambling problem and I went broke. And I moved to Miami and I couldn't put food on the table. And it was the lowest of the low point in my life at that point. And I sent my kids to live with their dads because I couldn't do it. And I had just paid, like, this was the moment I knew that this is what I wanted to do forever. I had just paid my phone bill and I had $300 left to my name. And I just become like the stone bubble of a $2,200 tournament that a friend of mine had put me in. Oh. And I got it in ace king suited to ace jack offsuit and lost.
No.
And I remember crying. I was crying on the way home. And then my roommate at the time was like, look, there's a ladies event that's today at a casino here, it's like 45 minutes away. He was like, I'll put you in if you want to play it. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I like got it together. I'm like literally crying because every moment, every hand lost and won was literally the difference between seeing my kids again or not. It was crazy.
Wow.
And this was in 2010. So this wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah.
And we went and I played the tournament and I got third place for like 1,200 or something, which was like a big deal because now I've like more than doubled my net worth pretty much. And then he was like, okay, like I'll put you in there's a $500 tournament like 4 days later. And then I did like a 6-way chop for like 8,000. And so it was just that. And I just like, I decided like, I was like, okay, I do really well when my back is against the wall. And obviously I was running well and, but I was also playing well and I just had the right mindset. And from that, I literally went on like a sick little upswing in Florida. I started winning a bunch of like $40,000 tournaments, like 20K here, 30K there. Like the next like 6 months was just unreal. I got my kids back and I got my own place. I got a car, like all of these things. And it just made me appreciate things so much more because I literally, like, I got my car repossessed. I got kicked out of I lived in this giant house. I had a full-time nanny, all of these things. And then my bad decision-making, which was gambling, had nothing to do with poker. Like I was making good money playing poker, but I was just really like cutting my legs out from under me by making these horrible decisions by playing blackjack. And I was super honest with everything that was happening. And I just had a really good team around me at this time that I started like my upswing. And right before Black Friday, I actually got a full tilt deal.
Oh, what?
And yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You got a full tilt deal right before Black Friday. Okay.
Literally
every single
right
detail you
before
can give,
Black Friday.
That's crazy.
So my agent was like really good. We had so Card Player Magazine and Annie Up had done, the Card Player did like a 4-page spread of me. I had started modeling. It was such a weird series of events that happened. I moved to Miami. I had cut my hair short and blonde. I started modeling after being a makeup artist, being behind the scenes for a long time. Then I started crushing like these smaller tournaments in Florida poker. And then with the card player article and the Ante Up article, my agent started talking to Full Tilt and Poker Stars, and they both said like she doesn't have any online scores, like she needs to play online in order for us to even consider her. And I had a backer back then, and I started playing online. And within I think it was like 2 weeks of playing online, I chopped a mini F-Tops for 40,000.
Wow. Nice.
And then like the following week, won like another like 15K, and just, it was like, okay, this is what's happening, you know? And so then we started really talking to Full Tilt and Poker Stars seriously. Yeah. And they were both preparing offers for me. And Full Tilt came with an offer first. They beat Poker Stars to the punch. And okay. I always think about this. And all I had to do was wait like 2 more days. Oh. And I probably would have gotten not as good of an offer from Full Tilt. Obviously, they were just giving money away back then. Yeah. But I would have at least had some leverage and, you know, like something to think about. But I was so anxious and so antsy. So we got the offer from Full Tilt, and we took the offer. And Black Friday that morning, my agent and I actually had brunch with, I want to say like number 9 or 10 in Full Tilt, like whatever order he was. Like we were supposed to have brunch with Ray. Is that his name? The guy that's like one of the guys.
Ray Dolly, I think his name was. Ray Dolly.
Yeah, we were supposed to have brunch, and then somebody else showed up in place, and they're like, oh, he had to go out of the country for business.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh yeah, okay. And then they gave me my patches. And then that day I had a tournament, and I sit down and I'm playing the tournament and I don't have my patch on. And then someone says, Justin Zaki was at my table, and he was like, Ebony, did you hear what happened online? I was like, oh shit, my patch. So I'm literally pulling the Full Tilt patch out of my bag, peeling off the fucking sticker, putting it on my shirt when they're like, the Department of Justice shut down poker.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So you got signed like the day or two before Black Friday.
It was like a week and a half before Black Friday.
Wow.
Like they were still doing business as usual. And and they were telling us, like, they were telling all of the players, like, it's still business as usual. So there's actually the WPT did their first big event in Florida. It was a 10K in April. So 2 months after Black Friday. And I'm sure there's like old footage of me and I'm wearing a Full Tilt patch.
That's so crazy.
Because they had a handler there and was like, nope, everything is good. Like, you'll be fine. You know, it was all of these things. And so in my mind, like, you know, as a poker player, this is everything that you hope for. And for me, as a mom, to go, you know, to work so hard, to make such bad decisions and to get my life on track. And it was like, okay, yes, like I don't have to stress anymore. Like I can kind of like take a breather and my kids can get to enjoy life.
Yes.
And then that happened and I was like, oh, motherfucker.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I've never heard this. I had no idea. Oh my God. So a week and a half before Black Friday happened, which essentially just shut down Full Tilt. Like Poker Stars got shut down in the US.
Yeah.
Full Tilt was just done. So what happened next? You finished that tournament and what happened? God.
Yeah. So I just continued to, you know, grind the way that I knew how. And just, I was still being told, you know, one thing from Full Tilt. And obviously we all know that, like, you know, whatever, none of that came to fruition. So it felt to me at the time, and I realized this later on. I probably realized this about myself a few years ago. This was like a recent revelation. But at the time, it felt like, man, I'm always so close. I had this victim mentality, and it was almost like I always felt like, oh, like there were so many times that I would get opportunities, and it was like, ugh, almost. almost, just not quite.
Yeah.
And that it felt like that again. And once I got honest with myself, it was like, Ebony, are you really putting in the work? And if I'm being honest, the answer was absolutely not. I just was in the right place at the right time. I had the right look, the right personality. You know, there's just certain things. And so I've just been super honest with myself now about the amount of work that I was putting in then. And so I'm glad that it didn't work out, because I don't think I would be where I'm at right now had poker just continued to like flourish in the States the way that it did now. I don't think I would appreciate it and have like the amount of like humbleness and gratitude and grounded mindset that I have now.
Of course.
So
Wow. This is still mind blowing for me. So at least I hope you got like a month. I hope you got like a month or two payment before they shut you off.
I got nothing.
You got nothing. You got nothing.
I got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing.
And so,
and I got very lucky even that I got my money off, because I had won the mini F tops and I think I had like 60,000 on there. And my agent was so smart. He is a brilliant person. And he just was like, you're not keeping anything on there. He was like, get it off. And I sold my money to Jason Mercier, literally, I think like a week before Black Friday.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. So there's some run good right there. That's some run good.
Yeah. Yeah, dang, for sure.
So obviously if I were you, and obviously I don't have to say this, but obviously if there's anything you don't want to talk about, you just say so. But I'm just putting myself in your shoes right here. I would be like calling PokerStars every day. Like the second it's like Full Tilt's done, it's like, PokerStars, what up? Like, I know you're not in the US anymore, but.
Yeah. So we actually still had conversations open, and they said, move out of the country and we will consider it. And
consider it? What the hell? Move out of the country, we'll consider. You guys say sign the deal, move out of the country.
Basically it would have been certain, but I would have had to move out of the country. But that felt like so much for me because of my children, and I would have to get permission from their dads. And there was just so much battling going on with my kids. I literally couldn't do it. Looking back, I wish I would have at least considered it a little more. And like tried to see what it would take to do it. But I let fear kind of take over, because it just seemed like too much of a thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been in Miami for that long, and I was back on my feet, and it felt like that was too much of a plunge to take at the time.
Definitely understand that. And obviously, things are going good. You're winning. Life is good. Why change that? And obviously with Full Tilt being shut down, you can't feel like super confident to like, that's something crazy gonna happen, and moving out of the country for it that's a massive step, even by yourself without kids. I totally understand that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm mind blown right now. I almost want to walk away for a second, let someone come on the host so I can wrap my head around this. I had no idea about the Full Tilt. I had no idea. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's such a crazy story. So when I hear everyone talk about obviously, I'm one of the lucky ones when I think about it, right? There are people who literally lost everything, and some people took their own lives because it seemed like there was no way to get their money back, and they had nothing. So in that regard, I understand and I appreciate how grateful I am that I was able to get my money off and, all of these things, because it could have been a lot worse. My life just didn't change. It was the idea of change that I lost, right? I didn't get paid, nothing changed. It was just all of my hopes and dreams. Right.
Yes.
So in that way, I realized how lucky I am. But it's also when people talk about Black Friday, I'm like, man,
what could have been?
Kind of
what
it stings a little bit, because they were giving out a lot of money.
I was just gonna say, I've heard rough estimates of the numbers of every single Full Tilt contract. That was money wise. That was the site you wanted to be sponsored by back then, because the contracts were just ridiculous, ridiculous. So,
yeah, they were absurd, which is why we just took it, because my agent was like, well, PokerStars is not going to match this. So you just have to decide. And I was like, no, right now the money means the most to me.
Of course.
So yeah, it was a juicy contract.
Wow. Okay, so full tilt goes away. It's painful, but luckily you obviously had to at least look at the silver lining of like, wow, at least I'm not saying full tilt went away and my $60,000 on full tilt also went away. At least I got that in my pocket.
Yeah.
You're back on your feet, and obviously at this point you still have to be counting your blessings to have a sizable bankroll, life roll for you and your kids.
Yeah.
And you're in Florida. What was next?
So stayed in Florida. I am just grinding 2.5 and 5'10".
That's what I was just going to ask you. So you've talked about your big tournament wins. I actually didn't become a tournament player until like 2014, 2015. I was a sit and go and cash game player. Did you mainly play tournaments, especially during that time when it was a struggle and you're building the roll? Or did you play some cash games, or was it just mainly focused on tournaments?
Yeah, so I played everything. So the limits in Florida didn't go up until July of 2010, right after the World Series ended. So before then, you could only play $100 max buy-in for cash. So it didn't matter if you were playing 2.5 or 5'10, it was $100 max. So we played a lot of sit and goes. Okay. So I actually got really good at playing live sit and goes, because it was just like I would play 300, 500, and 1K sit and goes. And that's what I would do. So then whenever I went out to Vegas for the first time for the World Series, I played sit and goes because, excuse me, it was just, this is my wheelhouse. So whenever I was playing cash, I would play like a tournament. Let me get some water.
I just had to take a drink myself.
No.
Hey, as long as you're not getting what me and my family
mute my microphone.
Over, like, as long as you're not getting what me and my family, take your time. Take your time. Abby's gonna take a second here, guys. And yo, again, thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to all of you for being here. If you guys are just tuning in, Ebony Kenney's in the house. She needs a breather.
Woo, okay. I think I'm good. All right.
We're back.
Yeah, so played a lot of sit and goes, and I played cash the way that I played tournaments, which means I won big or lost big. I didn't have any. I was a horrible cash game player, and I didn't realize how bad I was until I would date, some cash game players, and they would help me in my game. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so bad.
It's so funny you say this, because I've talked about, if you're, I know some of my regulars here in my chat have heard me say this multiple times. I have a lot of friends who fit that exact description of tournament boss, cash game whale. In fact, here in Sacramento where I live, I actually played a pretty big cash game about 5 years ago, and there was this guy just going crazy, playing every hand. And he was to my direct right. I go to a friend of mine, I go, oh my God, I'm not leaving this table till this guy leaves. I'll stay at this table till next Tuesday if I have to.
Right.
And I'm not going to say who it is, because I'm just not going to do that. But he's like, dude, you don't know who that is? I'm like, no. Turns out he's like, won millions and millions, like a big tournament player who was in town for a series.
Yeah.
And like, I guess that's what it is they play that tournament style of just gas pedal down. I'm going to win every hand.
Yep.
Which works for tournaments, because when you win all the chips in a tournament, you win 1,000x on your money, but that's not how cash games work. You need to have gears, right? You need to have gears.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't realize about the gears, because in tournaments, you're just the pressure. The person who puts on the most pressure is going to win most of the time, just because your tournament life is so valuable.
Yes.
And you can really put pressure on these players. And if they're not accustomed to it, which most aren't, they're just going to buckle under pressure and fold and move on to the next hand. They're always trying to think of like, oh, I just want to survive. Yeah. And so I was just gas pedal to the floor, like always. So I would win big, lose big. Like it was absurd. And I just was like, I didn't realize how bad I was until I started to learn. And then I was like, oh my gosh, my sessions, the reason I'm winning big and losing big, it makes sense to me now, because it's such a volatile way to play. And I just had no idea. It's crazy.
Okay. So you grinded cash games and tournaments. So did you not play really any online at all until just the beginning of this year? Was the beginning of this year like the mark of the online grind for you?
So actually I started playing online.
I mean, I knew you said you played some Full Tilt stuff back in the day, but you said
Yeah,
97% was live. When did that percentage start to change?
it changed when I joined the Thirst Lounge,
Okay.
with Bill Perkins. That was his project. And I didn't even know about Twitch. Like I knew nothing.
This was just a few years ago. How many years?
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago?
2019.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
January 2019 is when he chose us. And then February 2019 is when we went down to the islands. And I remember like streaming for the first time, and I had no idea about anything. Like they told us we we're on a 4-minute delay. So I'm thinking I need to read the chat on a 4-minute delay. Like there was all sorts of craziness happening. And I had no idea like how to play. I didn't, and I realized like playing online actually helped me realize like how many leaks and plugs I had in my game. And how like even 2 years ago, how horrible I personally think my game was. So it's like, it's amazing to me because looking back on the journey, I'm like, holy shit, it's outrageous that I'm still in this industry. Like it's crazy that I've been able to kind of like hang around for as long as I have and still, because at one point I was done. Like I was done with poker. I had started my coaching business, and not poker coaching, but life coaching.
Coaching. I've heard about your life coaching. Yeah. Tell me about your life. Tell us about your life coaching, or at least after this little, what you're talking right now. I want to hear about that for sure.
So it was, so I had gone out and started, I think it was December of 2018. I went to a women's retreat, and it changed my life. And it was the first time I had been surrounded by a bunch of women who were really rallying around all the other women and feeling support. And it was the first time I had seen something like that, experienced anything like that. I had started to get some really good girlfriends here in Austin and felt really seen and supported and loved, but I had never felt it on that scale. And when I did that, I was like, I want more of this. I need to be a part of this. I don't know how I do this, but this is what I'm doing. So I just started talking about what I knew in my journey. And from then I was able to, I started getting clients and helping them. And I was like, I guess I'm just going to be done with poker. And I remember the turning point was I had flown out to Vegas for the World Series in 2019. So it was right around the Thirst Lounge. Because I just applied to be on the Thirst Lounge on a whim, because a girlfriend of mine had sent it to me. She was like, oh, just do this. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. Because I was doing my coaching part-time and dealing a home game part-time.
Okay.
So it was like, I wasn't really playing a lot. And I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like, this will let me still do my coaching. Like, it'll be great. Like, I'll get experience. I get to create content in a beautiful place. So that's why I initially went after the Thirst Lounge and played online a little, but didn't really like play a lot. I didn't really have both feet in on the project. And that summer I went out to the World Series, and I had planned on staying for like 5 weeks. And my first tournament, I sit down and I had a client call like the next day. And I couldn't think about anything other than my client call. Like I was so distracted while I was playing, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even want to play this right now. Like it was crazy. And then I did my call, and I didn't make day 2, which would have been the following day. But I just ultimately decided that I wasn't going to stay the 5 weeks. I was like, I'm just going to stay a couple more days, see some friends. My boyfriend at the time was there, and I flew back home. And ironically enough, the thing that brought me back to poker was a breakup and a betrayal from that partner and a friend of mine. And the thing that I came home to was poker, which was the craziest thing. Like I fired all of my clients because I wasn't in the right mindset to help anybody, because I needed to take care of myself. And I started streaming. I started playing poker, and I was like, oh my God, I love poker again. Like it was crazy. So so that was the end of 2019. So I almost walked away from poker for good, which is fucking crazy to think about.
Wow. Dang, and that's it's so cool that it's so cool that's where you first linked up with Justin Kelly and bet on Drew, and then now we're all ACR pros. It's crazy how it works, right?
It's so crazy to think like how much, like, because Justin and I didn't really get to spend any time together because he and I weren't on the island at the same time. So we just hung out in Houston the first like 3 days that the 10 of us met. And that was pretty much the extent of he and I's live interaction. So the punter's pad was the first time we really got to like spend time together. And I'm like, damn, like he's amazing.
Justin is awesome. He's super awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, and to see the growth, and now to see that, you know, me, John and Drew, you know, join ACR this year and like unofficially last year and do the project in Canada. Like it's, man, I count my blessings every day. I'm so fucking grateful for everything now. And I'm proud of the growth that I've experienced as a human through like, especially the past like 2.5 years. It's been an exponential growth for me. And I'm like, I can say it now. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm a good person. Yes.
Yes. I'm so happy for your success. Honestly, obviously I don't know you very well at all. And, you know, my respect level for you is just kind of, you know, where it is for every other ACR pro that I don't know really well. Like, I respect you. You're a pro. I don't know you. Hearing your story of, because I've been a professional poker player since I was 19 for the last 16 years or whatever. And I can think of how stressful it was with no kids. I can think of how stressful it was having like just a couple $100 to try and I'm on my last buy-in and I'm going to go broke, and how stressful certain times were. I literally can't imagine at those point in times having kids that depended on my success and my money as well. Like mad respect for you. And like, I'm going to definitely be rooting for you that much harder now for no one, because I know that. And I know you got your kiddos, and seriously, I respect you so much for that. It's so awesome. So awesome. Thank
you. I will say I didn't do it alone. Like I've had people in my life that like I've made mistakes and I've like taken people for granted. I've taken advantage of people. Like there are so many things that I've done that I'm not proud of. And I know that I didn't get here alone. Like I had people who gave me chance after chance after chance, even when I didn't deserve it. And my kids like never gave up on me. And so I recognize like the privilege I have to be able to stand here and like say that I'm a Team ACR pro, to say that, you know, I get to take care of myself. I get to take care of my kids. I get to do that because there were times where it wasn't that I couldn't, it's just that I wasn't willing to put in the work that was necessary to do it. And I would like lean on, you know, whatever guy I was dating to like fix my life. And it's just, I look back and I'm like, what the fuck, Ebony? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm really grateful. And I know that it's, you know, the people around me. Like I don't really talk to anyone in my family. I have 2 sisters that I talk to. But other than that, you know, that's about it. But I have fantastic support through my friends, which are my chosen family. And they stand by me and they come through whenever I need them. And it's amazing. Whenever my kids need them, anything, it's fantastic. And I definitely didn't do it alone.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, seriously, hats off to you, man. So much respect.
Thank you.
So it's now one of my favorite segments of the show. We're getting near the end here. It's now the chat time. So it's time for you guys to ask any questions that you have for Ebony. Any questions at all, ask away. Bosted, let's pop it off right here. Bosted says, are you dating now? And what are your 2022 goals?
So I am dating. I am intentionally dating now, like being very mindful with my dating. I'm polyamorous. So although I was just in a monogamous relationship, we're not doing that anymore. Back on the poly train. So I'm dating and I am ready for a primary partner. And my plans for 2022 to make a lot of content and to actually like hit the ground running and stay committed and see what I can actually accomplish.
Okay. So. I like that. And so I have to ask this because you just said I'm kind of looking for a partner. Like, close your eyes and it's just like all your ultimate fantasies come true. Are you married or like what's your ultimate?
So I'm not too concerned about marriage, not marriage. Like that's not a thing for me. I just want someone who is honest. And I know people say like, oh, like honesty. And it's just somebody who's an excellent communicator and really honest and is really smart, and is looking to improve in all areas of their life forever.
Yes.
Like I've realized that for me, because that's the spot that I'm in. And I understand that if I'm with somebody who's not there, it can put a strain on our relationship. Cause then they can feel like they're not good enough. And it's just like, look, I just don't want to be in the same spot I was last year. You know, I want to continuously be growing. So I want somebody who is thoughtful, loving, honest, and a good communicator and is willing to like, let's build something. Like that's what I want.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what everyone wants. Amen. Awesome. So I think Crazy Simo is your mod.
My wifey mod. He's wifey.
Wifey. That's wifey right there. Crazy Simo says, when are we going to fire up the stream again? Asking for a friend.
Maybe tomorrow.
Hey,
but probably maybe tomorrow, but I think maybe Friday.
Okay. So very soon. In the next few days.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, for sure in the next few days.
Awesome. Violet Mystery. What's up, Violet? She says,
Hi,
what
beautiful.
is the most difficult obstacle as a female in poker? That's a great question.
It's twofold actually. It's kind of just combating these little passive aggressive, snarky, nasty comments. So I had a lot of fun this series. But for example, I'll just give one example because it's super simple and it just sums up what women have to deal with at the poker table. I was playing the bounty tournament. WSOP had their first bounty tournament this year. It was a 1,600 and you get a 500 bounty. And I got moved to a new table and I had folded for a couple of rounds. And it was my first hand that I had raised on this new table. And a gentleman in the big blind called and he said, all right, boys, whoever knocks her out gets to take her home. And he was like, that's her.
The table said this?
Yeah. And he's like, that's her bounty. And he was like a 6-year-old man or whatever. And I said, oh, and like, I'm trying to like, make it light and whatever. But like, he was like doubling down on it. And I was like, so if you knock this guy, I point out to the guy next to me and I was like, so if you knock this guy out, are you going to take him home? And he's like, no, he's like, you're the only one on the table. It has to be you. And I'm just like, okay. Like, that's just an example of the kind of stuff that women have to deal with. And I think that it used to be a lot harder for me because I was so confrontational and I was so combative that I would like immediately take offense to it and like make it a thing. Yeah. And now I've learned to soften up a little bit and make light of it and kind of turn around on its head and like use every moment as a teaching moment. And I realized that not every woman wants to do that and we shouldn't have to do that. But I feel a responsibility, like from where I'm at now, like the amount of growth I've had, like I've been meditating 600 plus days in a row now. Like I've got this. This is nothing. I can do this. But women, it's unfair that women have to deal with stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that is the biggest obstacle. But the close second is the idea that women are so catty and don't feel supported. And that's another reason why whenever I play with other women, I make it very known that I'm supportive of them, that I'm rooting for them, because I think it's important to feel like that, because I didn't always feel that whenever I was playing. I don't always feel that when I'm playing, but I'm giving that energy out. And because I'm showing up that way, I'm getting it back tenfold. And I think it's very important for women to be, to engage with other women in a very positive way, because you never know when you're going to have that moment again. And you never know whose life you're going to change. So.
Hell yeah. Amen. Amen. Adam Staley in the chat says, tell us more about your life coaching, please. You are a great person and love your energy. Adam, thanks for being here. And I actually want to hear more about the life coaching, because I actually had a situation about 6 years ago when I was single and I was living with a guy in Washington, D.C. And just in case you're out there, Philip, what's up, man? Much love. I was basically living with him. I was his poker coach. He was my life coach. I've
Yeah,
always been
that's great.
I've always been the most chaotic person in the world. So I would love to hear the details of life coaching and what that entails. And obviously, I know it's got to be different from person to person. Yeah, tell us just a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I initially started out as a dating coach. It was just the thing that I've always been the most comfortable talking about is sex and dating. And I don't hold back, and I'm not ashamed of anything. And I'm very honest about where I've been, which is a lot of places. So dating as a dating coach, it was just a natural first thing for me. And then I realized that I want to help people kind of get out of their own way, because that's what I've needed. And the thing that I've realized is that the people who perform at the highest level in any industry, in any sport, in any whatever it is, they have people around them to help them perform, to keep them accountable. So that's where I excel at. Like, and I also know, like, I also have a coach, and it's just like, when you think about it, like, your coach has a coach. Period. Like, and you're a perfect example. Like, you were his poker coach, so you could help him that way, and then he helped you, with your life. So, so right now, I'm not taking any clients because I am trying to get reacclimated, readjusted I need to, if you could see my house right now, I need to actually unpack and get things situated. But I want to say in March of next year, I will be opening up for group coaching. And it will be for women. So women only is what I'm working with. I'm just in a spot now where I recognize like how much shame and like pain I felt from like imagined stuff from society. And I don't want women to ever feel like that. And so that's what I'm doing.
That's good. It's always the best to put your energy where your heart is, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Basta in the chat, this is a great question. He says, so about dating, are you looking, so perfect world again, just like close your eyes, like, would you be looking for a poker guy or someone that's not playing poker so that's not of any conflict? If you could like say like, oh, I think I'd rather have this or this, what would you rather choose? Or is it just whatever?
It's whatever, to be honest. It has to be somebody who understands, because I have dated a lot of poker guys that are very egotistical and jealous, which is such a weird thing when you're dating a woman in poker. It's just such a weird, I don't know. Yeah. But then I've dated some really amazing men in poker, and vice versa. Like, the same can be said for people outside of poker. I think the biggest thing is it just has to be someone who's understanding and supportive, and know that I'm in an industry that is 96, 97% men. So when my phone like rings at 3 a.m. and it's a man, like, this is not a thing. You don't get to make this a thing.
Yes.
So yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, I respect you so much for
thank you.
doing the grind with the kids. And I mean, man, it's just seriously hats off to your success, and super happy you're part of the America's Card Room family. And again, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. You were awesome.
Thank you so much, Loncar. Honestly, I'm so hyped that you're doing this. I think this is so amazing, and it's such good content to have in the poker community and Twitch poker. And I can't wait to meet your wife, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw her. She was in the chat, and about
Lady Loncar.
Yeah, I think it was about 20 minutes into this streamer here. She goes, "Oh my god, I love her." So yeah, I know you guys are gonna hit it off for sure. You guys are definitely gonna hit it off. And again, thank you so much for coming on, Ebony. You are so awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We'll continue your success, and looking forward to me and my wife having a drink with you someday.
Yes. World Series is coming up.
Definitely. Awesome. Thanks again, Ebony. Having a great night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
So that was Miss Ebony Kenney. That was awesome. I had no idea about the full tilt contract and that whole deal. And man, my mom just texted me and she said, Ebony is inspirational. Definitely. Absolutely. Great energy. Awesome human being. And again, shout out to Ebony for coming on. Okay, so Crazy Simo. So all of Ebony's links are in the chat. And Crazy Simo, her main mod, is also saying you can check out ebonykenney.com as well, as her Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube links are up there. And yeah, that was an amazing interview. Learned a lot. And wow, that was amazing. Ebony, thanks again for coming on. And like I said, man, I looked back at the most struggling points of my poker career when I was, bankroll was diminished. I was stressed. I was trying to figure out what I'm playing, where I'm living. And just to imagine having gotten through that and stayed on the poker track and got the bankroll up and made it happen with my kids at that point in time, and being a single dad, like Ebony was a single mom, that's like, imagining that actually is just, man, like I said, so much respect to Ebony, so much respect. And this was a great time. Until next time, guys, adios.
If you liked this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, which is free, and don't forget to click the bell, which will let you know when any new video has been uploaded to my YouTube channel. If you want to catch my streams live, I'm currently streaming all day Wednesdays and all day Sundays over at twitch.tv under the username Loncar Poker. Thanks for watching.